Wikileaks founder Australian Julian Assange turned 52 this week, his 11th birthday in captivity. How weak is Australia in its relationship with the US that we can't bring this one to a close? As Philip Adams wrote in a petition to free Assange this month, perhaps the only thing I agree with Philip Adams on, quote, Julian has been deprived of the comfort of his loved ones, the warmth of the sun on his face, and the simple yet priceless freedom to walk where his feet might take him. Assange's family were granted an audience with the Pope this week, as Canada's CBC reported.
Assange's wife Stella and children were granted a private audience with the Pope at the Vatican on Friday as she leads the campaign for her husband's release. She has exhausted virtually all legal avenues of appeal. Assange is wanted by U.S. authorities on 18 criminal counts after WikiLeaks published thousands of classified documents and diplomatic cables in 2010 and 2011. His supporters see his prosecution as a politically motivated assault on journalism and free speech.
Assange is held in Belmarsh Prison in London. He's been there since 2019, when he was kicked out of the Ecuadorian embassy in London, where he'd been holed up after seeking asylum there years before. Here's how the BBC saw it.
Hoy anuncio que la conducta irrespetuosa y agresiva del señor Julian Assange han llevado la situación a un punto en que el asilo del señor Assange es insostenible e inviable.
He was jailed in London for going on the run from the Swedish allegations, and even though that case was later dropped, he remained in a cell because the US requested he be sent there for trial.
Julian Assange's immediate fate was now in the hands of District Judge Vanessa Barreza. She had to decide whether he should be sent to the US under the law of extradition, and she ruled that his leaks looked like a crime under both English and US law. But she then blocked the request, saying that there was evidence that Julian Assange was so mentally unwell he could try to kill himself in a US jail and nobody would be able to stop him.
Assange is now facing prosecution in the US under the Espionage Act, a law that has never been used before against someone for merely publishing classified information. The not very deep state, as I like to call it, the bureaucracy and intelligence agencies, hate Assange because WikiLeaks made information public about alleged war crimes in Afghanistan and Iraq, Guantanamo Bay, American diplomacy generally, that they say put spies' lives at risk, and internal democratic politics before the 2016 election that Trump won. Specifically on that last one, Hillary Clinton's emails leaked by hackers linked to Russia's Vladimir Putin. And I reckon it's that last alleged crime, more than anything else, that explains why they're truly pursuing this guy beyond all reason. 5 major media organisations, including the left-wing Guardian and the New York Times, published a letter late last year saying that Assange's indictment threatens to undermine the First Amendment and sets a dangerous precedent. Canada's CBC spoke to one independent journalist.
Recently, even the Prime Minister of Australia, Anthony Albanese, said there is no point in this continued prosecution. So why hasn't the US dropped these charges?
Yeah, it's a very good question. Literally every major press freedom and civil liberties group in the West, often which agree on very little, have united to urge the Biden administration to do so on the grounds it's the gravest threat to press freedom in the West. The history of the U.S. security state, the CIA and the NSA and Homeland Security is very much that if somebody exposes their secrets, even when those secrets are evidence of crimes or other deceit and corruption, as was the case here, they want to punish the person to the fullest extent, to really destroy them, mostly as an example to warn others that if they discover evidence of criminality and are thinking about doing the same thing, their lives will also be destroyed.
Now, you may be wondering why Assange is still in London. Well, the former UK Home Secretary, Priti Patel, approved Assange's extradition to the US in June last year. But Assange's legal team is appealing against that decision, and nothing moves fast in the justice system these days. So, what did Assange actually do? Well, it wasn't so much what Assange did, but what WikiLeaks did. They've come after Assange because he was the boss, but WikiLeaks is a reasonably large-sized organisation. The US indictment brings 18 charges against Assange. Most of them centre on the publication of secret military and government material by Wikileaks, which they got from US military whistleblower Chelsea Manning.